video, we're going to be talking about easy ways that you can become a better, more positive, more energetic, more fun, more together, happier mama today. My name is Kitty Hackle. I'm a registered general nurse, lactation consultant, birth and postpartum doula, as well as an antenatal educator and hypnobirthing instructor. I'm also called Mama by Three Little People, and today I'm going to be sharing my top tips with you in terms of how you can feel better about your motherhood journey, starting from now. So, we all know those days where you've just had enough. Maybe you haven't got enough sleep, maybe you haven't been minding yourself, you haven't had any time to just even think, and you've got people, little people, big people, asking for all of the things and having all of the needs, and you just don't have the capacity for that. I know the feeling. You just want to throw your kids out the window and just be in silence. Those are the days where you need these ideas to help you move from a place of this is really freaking hard to this is more manageable and maybe even this is fun. So here are the things that I have thought out, written out, because mom brain is very real, and I hope you find some of them helpful in terms of helping you move towards a place of this is going to be fine. I can be a better mama in a few minutes. The first thing that I do if I'm having one of those moments and just there's utter chaos is I will literally turn on a playlist. I've made a playlist that is literally like you can do this. And majority of the time it ends up with everyone in the house dancing. Music is so powerful in terms of our mental health, in terms of your mood, in terms of setting the tone for the day, for your family, for the space. And as the mother, you're oftentimes the person who sets that tone. So for me, that playlist suits my music taste. For me, if I start dancing around the kitchen, everyone else just starts to chime in. It might also be tailored towards more like what your kids' interests are. So maybe it's going to be for little people listening to some nursery rhymes and singing them out loud and just going for it. But those little changes, if you're in that kind of space, can be so powerful in terms of moving you away from that negative. My next tip then to help you become a better mother instantly is to get down and play with your kids. If your kids are shouting out for attention, there's normally a reason behind that. If they are having an absolute meltdown after meltdown, if they're really struggling with every task that you give them, if they're struggling with independent playtime, if they're struggling with waiting for dinner to get on the table, if they're struggling with homework, chances are if you get down to their level and do some Lego with them, play their favorite game with them, do a puzzle together, maybe do a little bit of drawing, maybe read a book out loud with them, and have some time together to just bond and reconnect and reset as a unit. Moving forward, it's going to be 10 times easier. I always call this like filling up their love tank, and it really only takes 10 minutes or so a day. So for me, if I don't get 10 minutes a day with my eldest, all hell will break loose. And if I have 10 minutes to just reset with him, read a book, do a puzzle, build some blocks, whatever it might be, moving forward, once he's sort of reestablished that connection with mama, it's so fine. And oftentimes remembering that these big emotions, these big outbursts that they have, it's not for no reason. It's because they're trying to tell you something. I come back to, like, let's run through that little list. So are they, using HALT, HALT, are they hungry? Are they angry? Are they lonely, or are they tired? And oftentimes for me, it's that they're lonely. So it's that reconnection piece, and that 10 minutes ticks that box, and we can then move forward in a way that's much more positive. So my next tip then might sound a bit obvious, but that is if you're having one of those days where your kids are literally bouncing off the walls, I say go more places without walls. So go to somewhere like a forest, maybe an open park, where they can be safely contained but not feel as contained. Being inside and having those walls to literally bounce off makes things 10 times more difficult. The next thing that I would suggest then is getting in water. So getting outside or getting in water, whether that is sensory play with like a basin and maybe some toys or some dishes for them to scrub or some trucks to give a wash to or a dolly to wash her hair, or getting into the bath, physical bath. even if it's during the middle of the day, can have a wonderful like resetting, calming effect on our kids. Warm water, adding in some lavender oil if you feel the need, or some Epsom salts is what I'm recently really into, can help our kids to just calm right down, and just the flow of the water and the way that it moves, and sort of a levity, effect of levity and the flotation that it gives our kids can be hugely beneficial. Double whammy if you can get in with them and have that kind of bonding, connecting time spent skin to skin with your baby is just so wonderful and so beneficial for all of us. So if your little one is bouncing off the walls, go more places without walls, outside, even if it's just in the garden, and get them in. The next tip then is something that also kind of carries on from my hypnobirthing practice, and that is creating an anchor. So, your anchor for calm might be something really basic. It might be that music playlist we were talking about. So, certain songs might trigger that feeling of calm for you, but it also might be certain scents and certain associations in that way. So, for you, it might be a case of opening the windows and then setting your diffuser and having a certain scent in there. So, for instance, it might be a citrus, sort of an uplifting citrus scent, or lavender, whatever it might be, that you then associate with that calming feeling. It might be getting a little stovetop aroma going. So, whether that's adding some cinnamon sticks and some orange rind into a nice pot of hot water on your stove and just having that simmering away during the day can be hugely beneficial and have that lovely calming, anchoring effect on your kids. Equally, it might be touch. So if your little one really just needs to like take a breath and they've had maybe a really stressful day in school, or they're just not feeling themselves, touch, whether it's just some anchoring touch by just touching on the shoulders like that with a little bit of gentle pressure, or just giving them a little bit of a head massage if they'll allow you, can have that huge lovely grounding effect and really anchoring them literally and into the present moment. So, moving on from that previous point about creating anchors, as mothers, we set the tone in our home. So, looking at your environment, if your kids are going absolutely bananas, they are bouncing off the walls, and you're having a really hard time managing that, setting the tone in that way. So, we've already looked at scent, we've already looked at how touch can impact how we all feel and creating those anchors, but we haven't looked yet at our environment. And for me, hugely, light plays a massive factor. So if we have like these kind of LED fluorescent lighting going on us the whole day, it can really make us feel like it can be abrasive, it can feel really harsh and really clinical. I love to look at how can we make the lighting warmer, softer, less hard on the eye. So for me, I love to have like little LED candles going, or like actual candles if they're out of the reach of little ones. I like to even go ahead and like paint my light bulbs orange if you're not going to go ahead and get like an orange hued light, just to really create and set the tone. If you're going to go ahead and get some little like spot lighting, I love the Himalayan salt lamps because they emit that lovely kind of warm hue, and they can really just change the ambiance in the whole room. It's very difficult to be angry and frustrated and, high energy when you've got that really warm, soft lighting. Last but not least, what I love to do if my little ones are just needing time to be with mama and I'm running out of ideas and I really don't want to have to do something that's like Pinterest worthy or some sort of like, yeah, plan that takes too much forethought, I will sit down and I will look through our photo album together. So, particularly with my stepdaughter, who is nearly 11, she loves to do this. So, we'll sit down together and we'll just go through the pictures of like gorgeous memories that we have together. We'll look at pictures of her when she was little, right up until kind of how she is today, and the different things that we've done together as a family. I find that that is a really lovely way for us to just connect and remember that we are a unit and create a more positive note moving forward. We only really have pictures of things that spark joy for us. So for us to do that together means that we almost always leave that event smiling. So it's a really nice thing to do if you're thinking about something to do with your little one, just to have that moment of calm, and moving forward you almost always are in a much better mood. So I hope you have got some ideas from those. Moving forward on those days is really tough, and sometimes it is just a case of remembering that tomorrow is another day, and taking that little breath and just knowing that that same day isn't going to happen again, and that even though those days are hard, the fact that you're finding them hard means that you're an amazing mama. If you didn't care about how your kids were doing or what they were up to day, they're the mamas who I'm more worried about. You're doing an amazing job, and I'm always here for you. If you ever want to reach out to me, send me an email or an Instagram message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.